This is telepathic. That means that what's behind my head, that's on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book, is what we look like. That isn't one of these bodies. We are spherical. We always have been. Fear makes people reincarnate in bodies and trap themselves in terror, afraid to remember what they once knew before they were born here. Chantel and Tonaltiel and Don Tam Lamtam are two couples from the stars that are human, very advanced, that I've introduced to people on Earth. There are many more ready to help people. Several billion, actually. They know what they're doing. They live lifetimes vastly longer than Earth people. They don't have subconscious minds. They have never been implanted. They don't live like people on Earth at all whatsoever. They don't eat things like people on Earth do. They're completely different, and you were once one of them. So we want to get this awake because it changes lives. You start to be able to bring back to this consciousness you grew up with on Earth that learned none of this from anyone. And it begins to proliferate. It begins to spread through you. You start to become a co-creator with Source from this secondary implant removal journey. It isn't in the future. It doesn't take place later, 10 years from now, or 10 million years from now. Because we already are destined to be co-creators with the Source behind all life. This is why we exist. Recovering this means we have to drop all forms of fear. Fear is artificial and implanted subconsciously in an artificially created subconscious domain. This was done by tyrants, one way or another, that put all the people on Earth the way they are with no memory. Political leaders, religious leaders, classified people, hidden government people, we're all in this together. This work is for their benefit too. And they know it. Disclosure in the U.S. began this last year with Congress interviewing people who actually met extraterrestrials, recovered craft, and they're starting to talk after 70 years of suppressing it at huge expense because of fear. Since no one's come and attacked anybody and tried to take over the world, I guess they're finally starting to get it. But even that wouldn't change them. Not with implants. The little grays that were abducting people and reptilians were in a few bases underground, were never many, no longer exist on this planet. They were removed 25 years ago. People don't know that in the UFO and extraterrestrial and disclosure communities. They don't understand. They get caught in peddling fear. Nazis and bases in Antarctica with reptilians and all that kind of thing. That is no longer on this planet. Those types of things were removed by beings from other worlds, not by us on Earth. So we don't have that problem. But we do have the problem of being subconsciously misdirected through fear. And it needs to go away. When I send out the hue, I'm not the only one doing it. I'm doing it with very, very highly developed beings who we've worked together most of this life and I had to go through incredible training and things in order to do what I'm doing because we trust each other. And recently Satnam has been standing high up in space observing what we do. He never did that before in several 100 billion years. This is brand new. And he makes sure that a higher energy of the U comes down through us through Turelian, and then there's an oval kind of shaped golden white light, a little brighter than the hue that makes up space that surrounds us. This is important because when we plug into the hue this way, it's one way. It is not reversible. The way the new ray works in the omnipresent first sound, the first power, now moving through the galaxy and through the lower dimensions of time and space, is moving through them in a different way for the first time. And we are beginning to experience, I don't want to say the effects of this, but we're beginning to experience a higher power of the hue moving down into the physical universe. It comes with a certain wisdom to know how to keep things when they're awakened in a person so they don't lose them again, so they're not vulnerable to be trapped again. That's the real importance behind the work. It's one way. If, for instance, you went on this journey and then left your body or something happened tomorrow, which won't happen, but you'd still continue on this journey with these people. It wouldn't stop because you lose a body on Earth. This is permanent. Dantiam and Lamtiam are two of the couples, Shantian and Tongso are the other two. And they're working with you, standing behind you. They've been described in other videos. They're tall, bigger eyes than humans, a little bigger, very beautiful, long hair to their shoulders. These are the beings that remove implants, not me. No one on Earth can do that. No one on Earth can do that has a subconscious mind. No one on Earth can do that has a primary implant. And those can't be removed on Earth without killing the body. It's very diabolical. So that takes place after secondary implants are gone. And then you, under your own efforts, co-create stepping forward with people from out of town to look in that primary implant so it becomes a memory and can no longer affect you subconsciously. At a later time, the subconscious mind will be done away with altogether. We're not meant to have one. These two have a service they perform. They are keeping your secondary and primary implants turned off for this journey. Piece of cake for them. Effortless. They know what they're doing. They leave their physical body on a ship out in space where we're going. They know how to do this. They have to be out of their bodies as Atmas to remove these implants. They're not in the body. They're in the electromagnetic field that surrounds way outside and around the spherical being we are. They're never in the Atma itself because it's not of any negative nature. In fact, we don't have any negative nature. That's in the implants that surround us in the electromagnetic field. The same field surrounds your physical body. It's much bigger than the aura. It's like the electromagnetic field that surrounds the Earth. You can get on Google and see it. Comes out of the South Pole, goes in the North. It's a field of view that allows a planet to float in a bigger, omnipresent energy field. It's the same thing that allows us as Atmas to float in that same field. We're comprised of that energy. The Earth is not. It is material. It has atoms. We do not. When we travel in that hue out there, first half of the word human, hidden in plain sight, when we travel on the omnipresent power, that huge, vast field of energy that supports little galaxies that float in it. Advanced races from the stars know how to work with that non-nuclear, non-atomic energy. The people in the CERN Super Collider in Switzerland have coined it the God particle because they know it's behind all matter, but they don't know what to do with it. It doesn't observe the laws of physics. It's something else. More advanced races know how to work with it, which is why they can travel faster than what people call the speed of light, because there isn't a limit to it. There's no such thing as the speed of light is only 286,000 miles and some change per second. That traps people in their thinking to Earth. They think, oh, people can't come from the stars. It'll take them light years, and it'll be 100 years for them to get here. Light from other galaxies will take forever to get here and all that stuff. That's nonsense. That's not how it works at all. So people on Earth have trapped themselves in thinking that keeps them from going into the deeper hue, which has no such limits, by the way. So I'll send out this hue, and you'll go into the trance state, your body will, we call sleep, because you do it every night. Everyone does, without effort. Like masters, they can run these complex nervous systems, put them to sleep, and then they identify with the body because of fear, and they go unconscious with it. If they go out and do things, which most people do, They're not trained from birth to bring that back to this life. So they remain unconscious. It becomes like fantasy for people. Or they think they're making this stuff up in their brain. There's nothing in the human brain whatsoever that can imagine anything. Brain cells don't do that. That's not its purpose. When we daydream going to the store and our body follows, it's the atma running through that body, through the pineal gland, that actually sees it, not the body. Human bodies don't run themselves. They receive an energy charge from the white core of the atma, and the atma powers it to run it. If that link, that energy link between the atma and the body, were stopped or discontinued, the body would drop over dead on the spot. They don't run themselves. So people are running bodies unconsciously. They're afraid to get out of their bodies. They're afraid to go beyond their religious beliefs. They're afraid to go see what they worship, because they put it on a pedestal so far above them, it's always receding away from them. The source never required that we worship it in the first place. We are meant to be conscious co-creators with it, not put it on a pedestal. We are made of the same thing as that source. That'd be like putting ourselves on a pedestal by putting it on a pedestal. It's a trap. So the real hue, when exercised, begins to bring real, vibrant, experiential life into anybody's belief system. And it begins to help that person let go of anything and everything that is keeping it from returning to the source while they're living and running bodies, because our destiny is to do that. People in the lower worlds of time and space have not been doing this. This creation we were all part of when we were in the upper realities before the worlds of time and space were even built. We did this collectively. And if we don't like it, bitching about it won't change it. We have to become co-creators and return to the source with all we've experienced to help make it different, better. Planets and moons and suns and stars or galaxies are fine. It's the people on some of those worlds that are nuts. They're just, they don't, yeah. One form of insanity's definition is keep doing something you're doing over and over again without getting results, and then keep doing it. That is a form of insanity. That is what people on Earth are like. We want to fix that. We want to help change that. So I'll send out the hue with Dantium and Lamtium standing beside you. Actually, they're standing up near the ceiling. Above them is a spherical Atma, just like you. They have a perfectly handsome, perfectly beautiful, perfectly flawless male and female body, but you realize you're showing them the exact same thing. About 36, flawless. Because we've always known how to show each other who we really are. This body form that looks human can see, taste, smell, has all the perceptions, but it's a projection from the white core of the Atma. And we get experience this way, and it kind of overrides the physical body. But with implants, it can't do its job properly. When implants are turned off, you already know how to show all of us who you really are. Satnam does it with a body form that looks human. It's not a human body. There's a big, bright, spherical Atma hovering above the form he shows us. When we start to remember this stuff, we start to advance. I'm going to send out the hue with friends from out of town. It'll open a vortex into the higher worlds, and Satnam has something to do with that now. Torellian most certainly does. And then we'll go on this and find out what these 3 lifetimes were for you. They were picked randomly. All good, no negative nature. What better way for a tyrant to stick fear and torture and death in them and say, don't look at these or we'll kill you? It's artificial. The implant part of it isn't even your experience. So we want that gone. I want those 3 lifetimes returned, because you will begin to draw on the brilliance, vastly higher IQ, vastly longer lives, higher genetic understanding. Usually, most of the people I guide on these were scientists. Galactic Alliance scientists, hundreds of thousands, even millions of years ago in some cases. That's what they once were already. You don't find that and create that and become that in the future. First, we have to recover what was taken from us. And then start to be a co-creator as we were meant to be. That hue continues beyond the range of vocal cords. You realize that you are hovering near the ceiling looking down on your body. It's just daydreaming. Of course you see it. It's no different than imagining going to the beach or the grocery store, except you're out of your body as the Atma looking down on the body. Piece of cake. Dantium and Lamtam are hovering beside you. The Atmas they are, the spherical forms, beautiful like the image behind my head, and on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book, reveals for the first time, even to Galactic Alliance people, in some ways, what we really are structured like as Atmas, or what people on Earth call soul, what we've always been. This is not developed or came into existence in the image of a body, like some guy or girl on a throne somewhere. Because Source doesn't look like a physical body, and neither do we, but we're very capable of running them. This is old, ancient stuff for us, not new at all. People on Earth are made in their terror to think that this is their only lifetime, or they don't dare remember, or they don't dare go out of their body because the devil will get them, or some other such nonsense, none of which has any validity whatsoever. It's just fear talking. When we go into the hue, there is a form of protection that comes with it that cannot be penetrated by any negative nature, technology, or being. Period. The only way to know this for yourself is to experience it for yourself. There is no other way. This work is not about giving people mindless entertainment or information. It's about telepathically communicating a stream of you that wakes them up to their own knowing certainty they once had, with no doubt and fear behind it. We need to recover that first along the way so that we can finish our purpose by returning to the source far above what people call the void and start to co-create with others, changing the way things are run down here. Dantium and Lambtium point up, you find yourself at 10,000 meters in the atmosphere. You're just standing out in the air, looking all the way down through the roof of your house, and you're still, all three of you, hovering near the roof inside the home. You're in both places at the same moment. The atma can be in more than one place at one moment, especially when it's moving from point A to point B. Then you find yourself in space, standing in a circle of beings around Ambassador Turellian. He's human, ancient, showing you an 18-foot tall body. They were big. They were 18 to 25 feet tall before they immortalized their physical forms over 1 billion Earth years ago. They didn't originate in this galaxy. They didn't originate in Andromeda. They came from much further out in the creation, and they helped to evolve certain genetic forms like human to a higher nervous system and capability so the Atma could run higher faculties of creation through them. That was the original purpose. It wasn't meant for us to get stuck in fear in bodies, thinking we're a body, wondering where our soul is. That's backward. Oh, I got a soul somewhere, and you think of yourself as a body, and the soul is something you don't understand, and it must be in your back pocket. Maybe it's in a shelf. Maybe it's somewhere else, or you'll find it when you die. People think they're the body. They are the Atma, forgetful that they're running a body. That's the reality of it, the truth of it. The Atma cannot be destroyed or harmed or implanted. It's never been aberrated. It's never been implanted. It's the field of energy that surrounds it, also made of the hue, the omnipresent first sound, that has the implants put in it. And they're attached to a field of energy around your body that affects your nervous system. So when they play from the negative things stored in Earth's atmosphere, all still there for 65 million years since the dinosaurs were extinct, it's all still there. And people open themselves unconsciously to it and carry out things that aren't even from this life. Dark things that happened long ago on Earth. This is why we do not attempt to remove these things in the atmosphere of Earth. That cannot be done until Earth's atmosphere is cleaned. That's coming. So we do it out in the pure hue, because that space out there that looks black in a Hubble Space Telescope image to humans on Earth, it appears black because the human eyes can't see into a high enough frequency. They're not designed to. We have two-stranded DNA. More advanced humans out in the universe like you used to be have 4. The telomeres don't shrink on the end of the DNA when cells divide like they do with people on Earth. That's called aging. It's an ancient old science mastering the genomes on the DNA. This is not new, but it is for people on Earth. The technology to correct this is ancient. To get it for all people on Earth applied, there's a couple problems that have to be solved. People have to drop enough fear to allow them to land and meet them. This is worldwide and involves everything living on this planet. Real disclosure isn't about telling people extraterrestrials exist. They already know it. It's about telling them the truth about how they come here, how much is known about them, so that every person on Earth knows without a shadow of a doubt fellow beings from the stars far more advanced than us exist. They're already coming here. This will change things. In space, you have Dantium and Lambtium standing beside you. I'm to your right, and I have 2 other people standing beside me from the Galactic Alliance. And Perry has 2 other people she has not met before standing beside her. There are 3 ships in space, just like there was for the previous person we guided. They're about 30 feet across. They have a pale blue-gray metallic surface, 3 semi-spheric pods underneath, a blue anti-gravitic light surrounding them. And we can see through the hulls of these ships because we are Atmas. We are non-physical beings of energy. We are the energy that those ships float in, just like planets. We are not the material things. We are those beings that helped create the planets, the moons, the suns, the stars, and galaxies, and multiple dimensions long ago before the lower worlds of time and space were constructed. And we are individually responsible for correcting this by returning. People have not been doing that for billions of years, so things have not been changing. Now they are. What we call the Galactic Alliance out there, you don't want to think of as extraterrestrial separate from you. You were one of them many times before this life. There isn't a race on Earth that originated in the atmosphere of Earth, didn't evolve here. One sun, one atmosphere, one planet can evolve the different types of humans that are displayed on this planet. They come from different star systems, binary and trinary. Some have black skin. Some have like Indian, yellow skin, or Asian, or Caucasian. These all come from different star systems. Nordics, tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. Caucasians, they come from different star systems. Or whole planets are like that. People were brought here at one time or another over 65 million years in a history people don't even know existed. They have a solar system history here. They have a galactic history. They have an intergalactic history. They have an interdimensional history. This is something we once knew well. So it isn't about learning it for the first time or evolving to some higher form that can understand it. It's not the brain and body of one lifetime that can understand it anyway. The Atma we are, that can understand the multidimensional nature of the universe and travel in it and experience and gain back the freedom and the responsibility that goes with that freedom. To be conscious, trustworthy caretakers and custodians of planets and moons and suns and stars, all life on them. This is what we were meant to be. This is not what people on Earth are doing at all. Unfortunately, they're destined to. They don't know it. As that sooner or later they have to return to that original purpose for existing, to become a conscious, trustworthy co-creator with the source itself. We are made of the same source energy, so it just makes perfect sense. Perry's off to your left. She's got these two people standing beside her. I'm off to your right. Terrellian standing in the middle of a circle of beings, 18 feet tall, looks human, like a Greek god, blonde hair to his shoulders, big blue eyes, pointed ears slightly like an elf, holding up his two thumbs and fists with a white golden light around him. And when you look above him, there's Etta and Din. These are master teachers. Their tails glowing, their little feet and hands like a human. And above them is Satnam hovering way up high. He's showing a human form with two gold bracelets on his upper arms, bronze skin, bald head, gold eyes, not yellow. Little white tunic dress from his waist down to his bare ankles, bare-chested, strong. This is how he chooses to show people. He looks Indian, but he's not from India. It's not a physical body either. It's pure energy. Above him is the spherical Atma that he is, much bigger than we are, by the way. So he's been observing these journeys for some time now. Something's changing out there in a big way. In several 100 billion years, he never did this before. Terrellian represents a race that immortalized their bodies over 1 billion Earth years ago by dematerializing the DNA structure and storing it in one of the teardrops of the Atma. When he wants to manifest it like he's doing now, just like you can when you show him a perfect, beautiful female about 36. Same as Perry or me as a man. We all can do this. This is how we reveal ourselves to each other. Above him is a big Atma. The light coming through a vortex that's open into the higher realities above the void, above Satnam, is coming down through Satnam, through Terrellian, out his hands, and he's creating this larger oval golden white hue that's of a higher nature than the white golden white hue that's in space for the physical universe. And we are encircled by this. Ramu is standing in the circle of beings towards the earth with his maroon robe, short cropped curly black hair and beard, his coal black eyes and swarthy skin, his little maroon robe, a little simple rope for a belt, holding that crystal staff with the symbol, ancient Egyptian symbol for a eternal life on top of it. On the other side is Master Opellum. Ramu's showing you a form that looks to be about 36. He actually has a physical body that looks like that. It's located in a city called Agamdes, a small monk-like city in the mountains like the Himalayas, but not in the Himalayas on Earth. It's in a higher Earth, a higher parallel dimension. Opellum comes from planet Oceania. He's a master teacher. He's showing you a body that looks to be about 40. Long, cold, jet black hair to his shoulders, emerald green eyes, pale blue skin, little webs between his fingers. He's holding up his right hand, little slits under his, high up under his neck. You wouldn't notice unless he lifted his neck. But when he does, you realize this very advanced human form evolved on a world with the ability to breathe underwater or on land. The genetics are so close, we could mate with them. Not that they would want to, but we could. So then you realize that the Say race had a hand in producing all these forms of beings long ago. Reptilian, Greys, Tall Whites, Nordics, Mantis, all these different races. Pashats, lion-like people, bird-like people. These were not mutations. These were higher genetic forms that Atlas could run to have experience and respect for all life. This is something we once knew. It was second nature to us. There are other beings here as well. They're master teachers from different races that when we're done with this journey, they're participating in for your benefit and ours. They will go with Satnam up to the Hue Expansion Ray Academy to serve a term of teaching in those different facilities that are there. And then another group will go up and they'll come back. This is how this works. When we go on the long journeys, we go there too. Dantium and Lamtium are turning you around to face you out in space between the Earth and the Moon. You're the Atma, you're simply allowing this co-creatively. And this body form that's made of pure energy is looking out at 3 ships. 3 ships, you can see right through the halls. You see 4 couples in each ship. 2 at the back asleep, a lounge-like thing. Then you look to your right and left and realize the 2 couple that's asleep in that ship to the far left is Dantium and Lamtium. They are out of their bodies. They have this technology to travel among the stars. And yet they get out of their bodies in order to help you with this problem. What they're showing you, because you have eyes and you can see, you don't have to breathe, you don't feel heat or cold from the sun, is the Atma you are hovering up there. And there's a big electromagnetic golden field surrounding it, moving, that is like the electromagnetic field around the Earth. It's also around the sphere that you are. Planets and moons and suns and stars are around because they're made in the image of their creators, or creator, if you like. They are that way because they are made in our image, not in a human body image. Give me a break. Really? It's right in front of people's faces, and scientists, they don't get it. Why are they round? So I get a kick out of this. The IQ has to be over 1,000 just to understand this. It's not measurable on Earth. Your IQ is already beyond that of what they call a genius. If the implants are still keeping you from having a photographic memory and telepathy instead of intuition, that's just fear in the way. The abilities are still there, not lost, not destroyed, just turned off or suppressed temporarily. So you see this field that's way out around this outside layer of the Atman, and they're moving you up into one of these white oval spheres. There are 3 in a triangular formation outside the Atman. Beautiful looking things. If you found them, you wouldn't want to get rid of them. But believe me, you don't want them there. So they're moving you up to it, and they're placing their palms up right underneath it, pulling it out and bringing your face into it. The secondary implants are already turned off, so is the primary implant. And you're starting to move inside this experience. You are on a craft. It's about 300 feet long. It's a cylindrical disc-shaped ship. It looks the same as the Emerald Star cruiser stationed in the ice rings that surround the planet Saturn, but much smaller. That one's a mile long. This is 300 feet. Has a pale blue antigravitic glow around. Has observation windows, 2 bridge control rooms, 1 on each end. And you are inside the front bridge window, standing by it, looking out the window at what this ship is approaching. And down below you, you see a beautiful big world. It has a green, almost purplish ocean, but it's glowing, it's luminous. There's no polar ice caps on this planet. There is a trinary sun system this world circles. It is a little over 4.5 times bigger than Earth. It's a big planet. It has 4 worlds the size of Earth in different orbits, like moons around it. No polar ice caps. The effect of 3 trinary suns on a planetary system and humans and genetics is much more advanced. The planetary atmosphere is about the same temperature worldwide. Most of the suns that are out in the Milky Way galaxy, scientists on Earth know today, are binary or trinary, not one sun like ours. Our nearest sun to the solar system where Earth is a binary sun system. Heads up, this will enlighten you tremendously, because most of the people on those worlds are far more advanced than us. And they've only recently begun to become concerned to intervene in the affairs of Earth only to the degree that they will not allow us to have nuclear war. They've already stopped that. I know of at least 12 occasions where they've done that since World War II ended. They didn't interfere, control governments. They just shut down launch computers each time and left. It's like saying do what you want, but that you can't do. Or we'd all be dead already anyway. We'd be looking for bodies again or something. So when I tell you I do not concern myself with nuclear war at all, at any moment of the day or night, I'm telling you the truth. I have no regard or concern for it at all. I'm free from that. That's all subconscious fear-based stuff anyway. So as you're on this ship, it's spiraling down clockwise towards a huge mountain. There's 3 mountains in a triangular formation. One's bigger. They have a blue stone to them. There is waterfalls cascading down these cavern openings 2/3 of the way up these mountains. Water comes from underground up out of the mountain and down the sides. It is not produced from melting snow. It's the first thing you notice. And your ship is landing on a cliff ledge in this big mountain. It's a big curved cliff cutout. There's a big arched opening into a hangar bay. There's a base in this mountain, much like the one that's in Mount Shasta in Northern California, 55 minutes from where I live. It was put there in 1908. Fortunately for us, we'd all be dead anyway. We're not alone in the universe, we never have been. This ship is landing, and as it sets down on the ledge, in the middle of the hall, there's a seam that appears that's horseshoe-shaped. A door opens into the side, and these stairs made of a clear crystal material extend down to the ground. You and fellow people on that ship are now walking down these steps, breathing this perfect atmosphere that has a glow to it, because the water vapor on normal worlds are charged with the hue. H2O has a very precious characteristic that people on Earth do not know exists yet. There's a few people, scientists, that have figured out that it has properties that were unbelievable on Earth because the oceans are depleted, blocked by the people who live unconsciously in fear on it. Earth, if it was normal, the oceans would glow a foot above the waves. So would waterfalls, the sap in trees. Birds' wings would glow. There'd be a pale glow around our skin, like there is in these advanced beings. As you come down, you walk into the back of this cavern, and you walk inside it, you can see there are a series of domed lights curved from a big one, and then there's a circle around them, 3 concentric circles that widen up to the dome, that are lighting everything inside like bright daylight. And you can see triangular shaped archways in 5, 6 different locations around the interior of this hollowed out interior. There are small scout ship parked there. There are people coming in and out of these golden quartz crystal type glowing lit up archways that go inside the inside of the base. The floor is like golden glowing quartz. It is also charged with the hue, because beings here are conscious. This was one of your past lives. You have a Galactic Alliance uniform on. You're a woman that's about 30. Actually, you look Asian in this lifetime, but far finer features. And the skin is a pale yellow. Your eyes have a blue with a little kind of a darker blue pupil in them. Curved ears that slightly curve out from the head. Beautiful slender fingers. The Galactic Alliance symbol on your right chest area. That's a silver galaxy with a 4-sided golden glowing pyramid. Quartz crowned with 3 blue stars in triangular formation above it. That goes back 500,000 years. This life is about 178,000 years ago. It's on a planet that's trinary, a third of the way out one of the spiral arms, the one to the right of the spiral arm where Earth is, which is 2/3 of the way out this spiral arm. This one is about 1/3 of the way closer to the galactic core. That is part of the Galactic Alliance. The planet you're looking at with these mountain bases, the other 2 mountains have smaller mountain openings and bases as well. Ships are coming and going out of them. In the distance you can see, this is a circular landmass. And out around it is this glowing ocean. It has a glow a foot above the waves. The waterfalls cascading out of these cavern openings on all sides of these mountains are feeding tributary streams that go out to that ocean. They are glowing. There are minerals in the water that hold the charge of the hue, and other things even in the plants that also absorb water that's glowing. Remember that these people, this is normal. Earth is not. Not at all. Not yet. The technology and the spirituality, the understanding of how atmas work, the technology to fly among the stars, even to other galaxies. The ship you just came on can go to another galaxy. It's 300 feet long. Usually they take bigger ones, 1-mile or 10-mile long ships on such journeys. They're self-contained ecosystems. Everybody lives inside those ships with perfect gravity. They don't feel any centrifugal or centripetal forces when they travel in atmospheres or make 90-degree turns or any of that stuff, because they carry their only electromagnetic or anti-gravitic field around it. When you're inside this base, you're heading towards one of the arched pyramid-shaped openings. As you walk through the hallway, you can see that there is a screen that projects from the right wall. It's a pyramid shape, or triangular shape, and you're being greeted by an admiral of this base who welcomes you back. And you are looking at him with great familiarity. And then you smile at each other and you go into this base. There's a plush blue carpet that's glowing. It has a charge to it. It makes your feet feel cool and warm at the same time. You're going into a lounge area and sitting down, and a couple of fellow people are coming up with a kind of a transparent golden glass-like teapot, and they're pouring you a liquid in that cup, and it's glowing. And when you drink it, you can see the glow going into your body and out to the fine light around the outside of your skin. You're really drinking the hue here, a non-physical energy in the form of a liquid. Very advanced stuff. This is just to get you back charged up after a trip. And then a tall, handsome man comes in. He has the same kind of physical characteristics. And he has these three golden sleeves, emblems or bands around his sleeves, a Galactic Alliance symbol on his chest area. And you embrace and you sit down to have a telepathic chat. The next thing you know, you're coming out of this white oval sphere of light in space. Don Tiam and Lam Tam are standing beside you. And then Don Tiam just flicks this thing. It spins end over end in space and disintegrates. And they laugh and chuckle about it. It's so easy for them. This means this lifetime is now conscious. The implant's gone that kept you from seeing it. There was no negative nature in that lifetime. And you lived 9,700 years and some change before you voluntarily left that life and went somewhere else. This happens to all of us. There was no negative nature, no subconscious mind. You weren't fighting reptilians. There was none of that nonsense going on. The Atma you are, in one of the teardrops near the white core, has this lifetime awake and stored in it. You can explore it when you wish. Now Don Tiam and Lam Tam are taking over to the one on the right side of the field, electromagnetic field, that surrounds the outside of the Atma. Their hands are under it, palms up, and they're bringing it to your face, and you're going into this one. And this time, you're walking on a long, glass-like, pale green beach. It's smooth. The particles are so fine it seems like shimmering glass, but they're charged. And there's a pale, dark blue water in the ocean that's offshore that's glowing. When you look behind you, you can see a big lake. There's like black sand dunes, and then there's a big lake in the distance. And a long snow-covered, just slightly snow-covered mountain range with blue-gray stone. And this is done deliberately to have snow. This is not the normal weather of the planet. There is a dome city at the base on the other side of the lake. And you are walking along this shimmering pale green sand, and you have a body that looks like it's almost 10 feet tall. It's longer neck, longer fingers, silver hair, violet eyes, ivory colored skin, longer legs, longer fingers. When you walk, it's like you're a swan moving a body. There are two people just about your height, one male, one female, walking beside you, just behind you. You seem to be in a great deal of peace. This is a Galactic Alliance affiliate world system. It is a world system in what are called the Zeontranamus world planetary systems. They are located on the other side of the Milky Way. This is 3.5 million years ago. And you were a scientist as there as well, and an engineer. In that lifetime, you lived over 5,700 years. You had an immortalized body, but you gave it up. The two that rule or not rule like tyrants, that are the heads of those world systems, that is just a little over half of our galaxy, have immortalized bodies 3.5 million years old, unaged. This body was one of them. And those two people beside you, and two more behind them, have Galactic Alliance symbols on their uniforms. They're humanoid, but not like humans you've ever seen before. And this is a meeting between this Zentranamus race and the Galactic Alliance. In recent years, they've become allies, so the entire universe is now manned by highly advanced beings. Tyrants are no longer allowed to go out and threaten anybody, and they're being changed on their world systems as we speak. for the first time. So this was something where you were a diplomat and bringing about or negotiating what eventually became an alliance of world systems. Who knew? Great life, no negative nature, no war. Of course, a tyrant would want you to forget all that now, wouldn't they? When you're pulling out of this lifetime this white oval sphere, Dantian and Lamtian are fiddling with this oval thing like a toy. And then he just flicks it and it disintegrates. There's a hue that comes out of his finger because he's got a pure energy body. And that means this lifetime is accessible to you. You can explore it further. It was a very long one. And now the two of them are taking you to the third secondary implant, which is on the back side of the other side out in space. They're just moving this pure energy form that looks like a 36-year-old woman. The Atma above you is going with it, and which is you. And then they're moving you. They put their hands under your upturned open palms, and they have you move this last one out. You're co-creating this. Remember, these were turned off. The primary implant's not on, so you naturally can do this. There's no negative nature operating. And then you move into this one. In this one, you are walking through a winding path that moves like a snake into the distance between two low mountain ranges, and you're heading towards a coast. And when you look at this, you find yourself suddenly as the Atma high above this body, looking out over the horizon, and you realize this is a continent, and you're on the western shore of this landmass. And what you're doing is walking along this little snake-like path between these 4-foot-high gigantic flowers. There are birds hovering down with twin sets of wings, long V-shaped split tails, rainbow-colored feathers. They've got two sets of wings like a bird, but they're moving like a hummingbird or dragonfly. And they're about a foot long, and they come over and they hover in front of your face. You have a body there that has it's a pale green skin, very smooth. Just almost white, but pale green. And the ears have longer earlobes down, a little further, little earrings with jewels in them. And you have this smooth, more elongated face, long arms, long feminine fingers, and you're walking up to these birds who are now circling around you. And then you realize they have an Atma hovering above them just like you. These aren't birds like you'd find on Earth. They have vocal cords. They're intelligent. Some of these bird cultures like this come from the upper realities above the void. And they've manifested forms here for Atmas to run because these birds go around and experience flying around in the nature of these worlds charged with the hue. And they figure out how people on many worlds can leave their body and swap places. So for now, you leave your body, this body that has this beautiful characteristic to it. You're a biologist in a sense, very advanced. You're exploring the relationship between body forms. And you get out, the Atma above one of these birds, a male, comes and hovers above the body you have. You hover over it. And now you are looking out through that bird's big bulbous blue eyes at yourself, your own body. And it's looking at you. You get to experience what it's like to respect all life. And then you return to your former places. You take a little pad out, it's like an electronic pad, and you're making notes. And then you touch the screen and it's telepathically sent into this computer system. That bird and its dozen other birds come over and touch their little claw to the pad. and feed information into it. They're very bright. They are atmas. Bodies are secondary. This is a trinary sun system. You can see the 3 suns in the sky. There's a big yellow one, a smaller, younger, white hot one, and then another smaller yellow one in the distance. There are 3 planets circling out there with no polar ice caps. A normal planetary system. This is called Shasal 1. That means there are 3 planets this size. This is Shasal 1. And it's in a planetary system closer to the galactic core. And the same spiral arm the last lifetime you awoke was in. This goes back just before the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance was formed of free worlds. But it was a huge planetary system, was in harmony anyway. And this goes back to a little over 1,250,000 years ago. When you come out of this last one and you realize you have access to this will help make your IQ and your intelligence go quite up back on Earth, because you begin to access what you once knew. The body you have on Earth, the nervous system and brain, didn't learn any of this. So you're bringing enlightenment back to that form. Your natural nature is to be a co-creator, a trustworthy custodian or caretaker of all life on all worlds. Not just Earth, not just this planet. The entire multidimensional creation is what we are responsible for helping change. The lifetime is conscious. The implants are gone. They cannot be done to you again. That's one of the gifts. You could say Satnam's involved in that for sure. When you find yourself back on Earth, hovering above your body with Dantian and Lamtian beside you, in this perfect female form, you're showing them, the perfect female woman, Lamtian, Dantian, perfect male. These are beings that are still got bodies up on those ships. We're in space, in a circle of beings around Turelian, with master teachers around us, and Satnam up there watching. He's got a little smile on his face. He knows what he's doing. When you find yourself back on Earth, looking down at your body, you can see this glowing electromagnetic field around it, what people call the aura. But it's much bigger than some colors close to your skin. There are no implants. Primary implant is on the north part of the Atma, southern part. They're pyramidal with quartz caps. They point down, they point up. They cannot be removed at this time by the Galactic Alliance. They're set up to kill your nervous system. Pretty diabolical, because that contains a memory of how you got to be on Earth, and that was not pleasant or fun for any of us. You will co-create the time and place with friends from out of town you've been introduced to. When you go and see into that, we do a primary implant review. And you'll be able to see what happened, and that will become a memory only. And then you have mastery or control over it, which means when the secondary implants are gone, you find you have volitional control over whether you choose to focus on fear of the present and future, or send the hue into and turn it off, or just look at a waterfall or a hummingbird or something beautiful. Sing a song, send the hue out. Have a drink, a cold drink. Just change the consciousness. You're going to find you have the ability to turn off that primary implant. All Atmas have the ability to master any form of negativity, but they've been terrorized in the past to forget and doubt this. This is part of recovering this confidence. The hue comes down through the ceiling, through you, through your friends, out through your body to 3 pyramids on Earth, 2 in the bottom of Earth's deepest oceans, 1 in a Holiday interior in a mountain in the Himalayas, and then out into space. to a big pyramid stationed between two stable asteroids that is there now. It's not made of physical matter. It's turned on. It circles in the orbit of a planet in the asteroid field between Mars and Jupiter, which was a planet that was blown apart long ago. It goes out in space. It continues through the white golden light and goes up the shaft of the galaxy, which is white golden, not black like a black hole. That's just because human eyes can't see it. And then up back to source, like the sign of infinity. It never stops. It moves through you for your benefit and continues to move through you on its way for the benefit of others. You are now, not in the future, a co-creator with source. You always were. We go together and move forward and go on these journeys into the upper realities above the void because we cannot take ego or negative nature of any kind with us. That stays turned off with the sleeping body on earth. And then we go up and visit Sadnam, we go into the U Expansionary Academy, we go higher. There we begin to co-create fixing this problem instead of crying and whining about it. We start to work with other beings to solve the problem and not be the effect of a problem. We become part of the solution instead of the problem. This is part of this process. When you're ready, open your eyes. 3. That's the stuff the dreams are made of. It's pretty cool, actually. Yeah. Man, believe me, I wish I had the stamina or the life. Whoops. What happened?
I'm still here. I can still hear you.
Oh, somehow I clicked off my screen. Yeah, we're still here.
Unmute. I have to unmute.
Well,
Oh my God.
anyway, yeah, that's life-changing, that stuff.
Yeah.
When you realize that you were far more advanced, like Perry does or I do, already long ago, it changes everything for you here. That's pretty advanced stuff. Being part of the Zintronamus race, the master geneticists, immortalized bodies, it's just, this is not new to them. And it was not new to you either.
I love what you said at the end, that we are a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. This
Exactly.
one I recall that I read first time from your book and said, yeah, that one, that is for me. And then today you just mentioned about that again. Yeah.
Well,
It's
these were
awesome.
just 3 of your lives out of billions, and they're all good. No negative nature. You might as well have access to them. I wish as I was starting to say, I wish I could, if I had some kind of super body, I suppose I could ignore all physical stuff and just guide everybody on, at least give them 3 lifetimes back. But as you can imagine, it's not possible times many people, physically or otherwise. Wouldn't matter what it costs or doesn't cost, it just can't be done. So we're doing this, and I will continue to make exceptions when I guide certain people this way. With friends from out of town, of course, because they advise me, they're pretty smart people. So we'll still do it, but for masses of people, I don't want to give them the indication that we're going to do that onward for everyone, because it just can't be done by one person. But when we go on the guided secondary implant removal journeys for your fellow beings, they will get the same benefit. I can't show them 3 lives, but the implants will go, and then they'll be signed a man and a woman just like you were. Dantium and Lamtium did the implant removal for you, but they will assign many other beings and master teachers to you so they can work with you every night when you're out of your body, because you're out of it every night anyway. Might as well make it productive. So then if you just send out the hue for 5 minutes before you go to sleep and just ask, say, the same people, Dantium, Lamtium, people you met,
Yeah.
or Shantial, Tontial, doesn't matter. They all speak with each other. They're telepathic. And then just ask them to give you the assistance you need to look into the primary implant when you're ready. That's up to you. Not up to me or Perry. It's not even up to
can't wait for
Satnam.
that. Yeah.
It's when you're ready, you'll do it. You already have the courage to do this now. Despite being implanted, that's what I look at. That's what they see. You were manifesting courage over being implanted in ways that the beings who did it thought you could never remember no matter what. You did it anyway. So did I. So did Perry. That's courage. Courage is the opposite of fear. What people don't understand, you know what the opposite of lust is? Like lust for food or sex or accumulation of things or homes or properties. The opposite isn't what people think it is. It's not abstinence or denial. The opposite of lust is right discrimination. When we're awake, we know how to see things clearly and make better decisions than being misdirected to make wrong decisions. That's what that means. The Atma is plugged into the source. And when it's plugged into the source, it knows what to do. Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, I just brought it up because a lot of people are confused about almost everything on Earth. It's little things like this can change a life, where you just go, oh, so I'm supposed to know ahead of time before I leap what is good to leap into and what isn't. Well, of course we are. It's normal and natural. If we're awake without fear, we don't make mistakes. You see what I'm saying?
I really want to give you guys, both of you, a big thank, because first of all, like the positivity that you bring to my life, to bring to the people around me, this is amazing.
Yeah,
Especially
because
like Perry, she really did a lot of work to bring this
yeah,
thing to
she
us
does.
all.
There's no negative nature in this work. If there's any in it, we brought it to it. Because in the work itself and the beings we work, there's no negative nature in them at all. They don't have subconscious minds through which they can be negative. We're supposed to be like that. That's normal.
Sometimes I could not like stop smiling when I think about you guys, about your work and so on.
Oh, that's great. Well, that's what you're supposed to do. When you do an exercise tonight and you send out the hue and you ask Don Tam and Lam Tam to go with you tonight, they'll know who to take you to, who to introduce you to. That's not a problem. Satnam might take you somewhere. Trillium might show up and knock on your forehead. Hi, I know I'm really tall, but you want to go with me on a trip? You can go with them.
But the master that bring most of the joy is like the master Etta and Din. When I think about them, I say, oh, they are so cute, so lovely.
When I think about them, I just start cracking up. They're so cute and so loving and so fun and so pure. They're like my cat Starlight was before he passed away, just pure. That's why they love him and he loves them. They really get along. So he hangs out in the Atma plane with Satnam now. I took him there. So he didn't have to reincarnate and be a human or any of that stuff. He just bypassed all that stuff. Now he's working up there. He's got a significant other up in the Atma plane, believe it or not, and he's very advanced. My other cat became a pashat. You know what one of those are?
No.
That's a lion type creature, big mane, like a lion head, human arms and legs, retractable claws, very powerful, much faster nervous system than ours. They're a warrior race, spacefaring race. And they're part of the Galactic Alliance. They're not known much on people on Earth. Some people have heard of Pashats, but they're reptilians are most afraid of one race, Pashats, because they could kill 100 of them in under 5 seconds if they wanted to take them out. And reptilians are strong and big and 9 feet tall. It's the one race they don't mess with. So there's just so much out there and they're kind and they like humans, it's all good. You'll find out a lot of stuff. We were thinking about doing a series of adventures, small, short videos where I can take people to explore deeper into these worlds in a series. And then they wouldn't have, they could just like pay for a subscription to the website, and then they could go and watch these series and go along and get more out in the universe kind of thing. So I think we'll
could not imagine that before.
What's that?
I could not imagine that before, right? Okay, like we are in this world and just okay, like we try to do our best every single day.
Yeah.
But then we just, it's still something we can do. Like sometimes I feel like I hit the wall. I could not do anymore to help people or whatsoever. But
Yeah.
now, okay, I feel, okay, we still can do it a lot too.
Yeah, and when you're in a like when you're, I'm going to bring this recording to a close.